What if your body was quietly trying to tell you something, and you kept missing the signs? Maybe you felt bloated after meals. Maybe your favorite comfort foods just don't sit right anymore. Maybe your gut feels off, but you've chalked it up to just aging. Here's the truth. Not every digestive issue is just part of getting older. Some symptoms, even the subtle ones, can be early warnings of something more serious. So in this video, we're going to walk through some of the key warning signs of serious digestive issues in older adults. We'll talk about what's normal, what's not, and when it's time to pick up the phone and call your doctor. They talk to each other more than you think. All right, let's start with one of the most common and often most ignored signs. Persistent bloating or fullness that doesn't go away. Now sure, we all feel bloated from time to time. Maybe you had a bit too much cabbage at lunch, or your dinner was saltier than usual. That kind of bloating usually fades within a few hours or after a good night's sleep. But if you're finding that your belly feels tight, swollen, or gassy even after eating small meals, and especially if this happens often, it could be more than just diet. In seniors, bloating that sticks around can sometimes be related to slow digestion, yes, but it can also point to more serious issues like bowel obstruction, gastroparesis, or even early warning signs of ovarian or colon cancer. I know that might sound scary, but that's exactly why we're talking about it. Because these signs don't always come with loud alarms. They whisper, and bloating is often one of those whispers. So here's what to watch for. If that full, heavy feeling happens more days than not, if it wakes you up at night, or if you're suddenly not able to eat as much without discomfort, it's time to get it checked out. Especially if you have a thyroid condition like hypothyroidism, which can slow everything down, including how your stomach empties. The next one might surprise you: unintentional weight loss. Now, some people might see the number on the scale go down and think, well, that's not so bad. But here's the truth. If you're losing weight without trying, especially if it's more than 5 pounds in a few months, that's your body waving a red flag. When digestion is off, your body might not be absorbing nutrients the way it should. And if you're eating your regular meals or even eating more to try and make up for the weight loss, but still losing weight, something deeper could be going on. Conditions like celiac disease, chronic pancreatitis, or certain cancers can cause unexplained weight loss. Even advanced thyroid dysfunction, especially hyperthyroidism, can quietly eat away at your weight, even while your appetite stays the same or increases. It's not just about the number. It's about energy. Are you feeling more tired than usual? Muscles weaker? Pants fitting looser without changing your diet? All of these are signals that your digestive system may not be functioning at full capacity. And if you've been skipping meals because food makes you feel bad afterward, well, that's a clue too. Losing weight because food is no longer enjoyable, or because it's followed by pain, gas, or nausea, is a sign that something's off. Here's the thing. We often don't give enough credit to how hard our digestive system works every day. It's not just about breaking down food. It's about absorbing life-giving nutrients. And if that system is struggling, everything else starts to feel off balance. Now let's talk about a sign that's often brushed aside or whispered about: changes in bowel habits. I get it. Nobody wants to talk about poop, but it tells us so much about what's happening inside. If you've gone from regular movements to sudden constipation, or the opposite, frequent diarrhea, it's worth noticing, especially if these changes have lasted more than a few days or keep coming back without any clear cause. Think about it like this. Your digestive system has a rhythm, and when that rhythm is off for too long, it might be trying to tell you something. For example, constipation can sometimes be linked to slowed gut motility, which happens more often in people with underactive thyroids. On the flip side, sudden diarrhea might signal an infection, inflammation, or even something more serious like colon disease. And alternating between the two, that can be even more concerning. Here's what's not normal: blood in the stool, black or tarry stools, pale or clay-colored stools, or stools that float and are greasy or hard to flush. I know that might feel uncomfortable to think about, but your body is giving you visual clues every day. Don't ignore them, and don't assume it's just food or stress or age. Those things matter, yes, but persistent changes deserve a conversation with your doctor. So far, we've talked about bloating that won't go away, unintentional weight loss, and ongoing bowel changes. All of these can be early signals that your digestive system needs a little extra attention, or that something deeper might be happening beneath the surface. Now that we've covered those, let's move into another red flag that often gets overlooked, but could be one of the most important to pay attention to. Let's talk about pain, specifically persistent or unexplained abdominal pain, and what it might mean for your health. So let's talk about pain, because when it comes to digestive health, pain is one of the most direct ways your body tries to get your attention. But here's the thing, not all pain is the same, and not all pain feels dramatic. That's why it can be tricky. Some people expect a sharp, stabbing sensation to know something's wrong. But in reality, it might feel like a dull ache, a cramp that comes and goes, or even a tightness that shows up only after eating. For example, discomfort in the upper right side of your abdomen, especially after eating a fatty meal, could be a sign of gallbladder problems. Cramping in the lower abdomen that doesn't go away could be related to diverticulitis or inflammation in your colon. And if you ever feel a burning sensation in your stomach that seems to get worse at night or when your stomach's empty, it might be more than just indigestion. It could be an ulcer. And I'll be really honest here. If you're ever dealing with severe pain, especially the kind that wakes you up from sleep, takes your breath away, or is paired with nausea, fever, or vomiting, that's not something to wait on. That's a straight path to your doctor, or even ER if it's sudden and intense. Pain is personal. You know your body best. So if something just feels different, even if it's hard to describe, don't downplay it. You've lived long enough to trust your gut, literally. Now let's shift gears and talk about something that often flies under the radar: difficulty swallowing or feeling like food gets stuck. Have you noticed that swallowing isn't as smooth as it used to be? Maybe it's taking longer to finish meals, or you need more water to wash down even soft foods. Some people describe it as a pressure in the chest after eating, or like food gets stuck halfway down. Others feel a lump in the throat that won't go away, even when they're not eating. These might sound like small annoyances, but they can be signs of something much more serious. Esophageal issues, like narrowing due to acid reflux, inflammation, or even growths, can make swallowing uncomfortable or even dangerous if not addressed. And here's a connection you may not know. Thyroid disorders can also impact swallowing. An enlarged thyroid or goiter can press against the esophagus and make it harder to swallow. So if you already have thyroid problems and you're noticing a new or growing difficulty, that's definitely worth a conversation with your doctor. You deserve to enjoy your meals without anxiety or discomfort. And if you're avoiding certain foods because you're worried they'll get stuck or cause pain, that's your body's way of asking for help. Don't ignore it. Next up, and this one's a big one, let's talk about nausea and vomiting that won't go away or keeps coming back. We all get nauseous sometimes. Maybe it's something you ate, a sudden smell, or even stress. But persistent nausea, especially when it's happening more days than not, is something that needs attention. And if you're vomiting without a clear cause, even just once or twice, your body is waving a very big red flag. Nausea can come from so many things: infections, stomach ulcers, gallbladder issues, or even thyroid imbalances. For example, in hyperthyroidism, your metabolism speeds up and nausea or sensitivity to smells can become more common. But regardless of the cause, nausea and vomiting are not symptoms to ignore, especially in older adults. And dehydration is a real risk here. When you're not keeping food or fluids down, your body starts to lose more than it's taking in. That affects your energy, your blood pressure, your kidneys, and it makes everything else harder. So let's keep it simple. If you're frequently nauseous or vomiting without a known cause, talk to your doctor. It might be something minor, but it could also be your body telling you there's inflammation, a blockage, or another condition at play. Now, there's one more sign that ties everything together, and it's something many people hesitate to talk about: blood in your stool, in your vomit, or even when wiping. Any sign of bleeding, especially from the digestive tract, is never normal. Let's take a moment to break that down. If you notice bright red blood when you wipe or see it in the toilet, it could be something as minor as hemorrhoids, but it could also be something more serious, like inflammation in your colon or a bleeding polyp. Dark, tarry stool can mean bleeding higher up in your digestive tract, like from an ulcer or the stomach lining. And if you ever vomit something that looks like coffee grounds, please don't wait. That can signal bleeding in your upper digestive system and requires urgent care. I know these things can feel embarrassing to talk about, but let me be very clear. Your doctor has seen and heard it all. Nothing you say will shock them, and you should never feel ashamed of your symptoms. They're just that, symptoms, and your job is to notice them. Your doctor's job is to help you understand what they mean. So far, we walked through some important warning signs. Persistent bloating, unintentional weight loss, bowel changes, abdominal pain, trouble swallowing, ongoing nausea, and now, signs of bleeding. Any one of these on their own is worth bringing up. If you're experiencing more than one, that's even more reason to get checked out. I want you to think of your digestive health like a daily conversation your body is having with you. And your job? Just to listen, not to panic, not to assume the worst, but to stay curious, to notice the patterns, and to trust that what you're feeling is real. Now, in the next part, we'll talk about what happens after you notice these signs. What kinds of tests your doctor might recommend, what questions to ask, and how to prepare for that appointment so you feel confident and heard. Because the truth is, catching things early makes a world of difference. And the more you understand your symptoms, the better equipped you'll be to take care of yourself. So you started noticing changes. Maybe it's the bloating, the weight loss, the discomfort after eating, or even just a gut feeling that something isn't quite right. First of all, I want to say this. You are not overreacting. So many people, especially older adults, downplay what they're feeling, telling themselves it's just part of aging, or that they don't want to bother their doctor. But taking care of your health is never a bother. It's a necessity, and it's a gift you give to yourself and the people who love you. Now, let's talk about what actually happens once you decide to see a doctor. For many people, the idea of walking into an appointment with digestive complaints can feel overwhelming. What if I don't explain it well? What if they don't take me seriously? These are valid concerns, and that's why being prepared can help you feel more in control. Before your appointment, take a few moments to jot down what you've been experiencing. When did the symptoms start? How often do they happen? Is it worse at certain times of day, after certain foods, or when you're stressed? The more specific you can be, the more helpful it will be for your doctor. And don't worry about sounding dramatic. If something feels off to you, that matters. You can also make a note of any over-the-counter medications or herbal supplements you've been taking. Things like antacids, laxatives, probiotics, even ginger tea. Your doctor will want to know. And if you've been making changes to your diet or avoiding certain foods because of your symptoms, that's important too. Now, your doctor may order some basic tests depending on your symptoms. I know that sounds like a lot, but here's the reassuring part. You don't have to figure it all out by yourself. Your job is to show up, share your experience honestly, and ask questions. Your doctor's job is to guide the process. And if something needs treatment, the sooner you catch it, the easier it usually is to manage. And speaking of questions, don't be afraid to ask them. You have every right to understand what's happening with your own body. A few helpful ones to keep in your back pocket. What could be causing my symptoms? Do you think my thyroid might be involved? Are there any foods or habits I should change while we investigate this? What's the next step if this test comes back normal? Asking questions isn't about challenging your doctor. It's about collaborating with them. You're a team, and the more informed you are, the better your outcomes will be. Now, I want to touch on something that often goes unsaid, the emotional side of all this. When your body isn't cooperating, it's easy to feel frustrated, anxious, or even embarrassed. Maybe you've stopped eating out with friends because you're worried about your stomach acting up. Maybe you've been silently avoiding social events, walks, or even long car rides because you're afraid of needing a bathroom or not finding one in time. That kind of stress builds up, and it's not just in your head. It affects your nervous system, which in turn affects your gut. Let's take a moment to recap the key signs we've talked about today. Not in a checklist kind of way, but just as a general reminder of what to stay aware of. Bloating or fullness that sticks around, even when eating small meals. Unintentional weight loss. Ongoing changes in your bowel habits, like constipation, diarrhea, or both. Persistent or unexplained abdominal pain. difficulty swallowing or the feeling of food getting stuck, frequent nausea or vomiting, signs of bleeding in stool, vomit, or when wiping. Each of these is your body's way of speaking up, and your job is to listen. But here's the best part. Once you start paying attention, once you take that step to get things checked out, you're already moving in the right direction. You're saying yes to your health, yes to more energy, yes to peace of mind, and you're not alone. There's so many people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond who are waking up to how powerful their bodies still are when they're supported the right way. Whether it's adjusting your medication, changing up your diet, getting the right tests, or simply having someone listen, solutions exist. Relief is possible, and you deserve it. So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. Your body is wise, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's noisy, even when it's confusing. Every symptom is a message, not a punishment. The more you tune in, the more empowered you become. If anything in this video resonated with you, if you've been noticing any of these signs, or if this gave you the courage to finally make that doctor's appointment, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. You never know who you might encourage just by sharing your story. And if you found this video helpful, please give a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. We got more videos coming your way on thyroid health, digestion, and living vibrantly at every age. Remember, small steps matter. Awareness is power. And you are capable of incredible things, no matter your age. Here's to feeling good in your body, trusting your instincts, and living your best life. One bite, one breath, one step at a time. We'll see you in the next video.